Hey, Tony Gasson here popping in. Little quick video. Now this one here for the fellas about earning her trust back. This is the question that I would say the number one question I get from men, and I've done a video on it before, but I guess it's so old it probably has fallen out of the algorithm, and so unless you go through every video, you may not see it. Now here's what you got to understand when you earning your woman's trust back. First, you got to be willing to admit to the guilt. You got to be able to admit to the offense. You can't come back and have this attitude of if, ands, and buts. Or you should have did this, you should have did that. Do you want her or not? So if you cheated, if you lied, if you emotionally cheated, if you physically cheated, you can't come back and say, well, I cheated because you don't cook. I cheated because you were distant. I cheated because you talked down to me. Because you can't blame your choice on somebody else. Because anything you do, you have to do the time for that. You can't go and rob a bank and say, well, I robbed the bank because of the movie that I watched, The Town. And they be like, oh, okay, thank you for letting us know that. All right, here go your 10 years. You see what I mean? So if you cheat, guess what? You could blame it on her in your head, but that's not gonna stop you from catching HIV. That's not gonna stop you from getting this other woman pregnant and becoming a weekend daddy if you want to get back with her. You see what I mean? So first thing you have to do is you gotta admit that you were wrong, and you gotta accept full responsibility without ifs, ands, and buts. And you can't come back trying to point the blame. Oh, well, I'm gonna change this, but you need to change this. You need to work on this. No, what do you need? What are you coming back to work on? Because everything else is subjective. So if you okay with that, now, because you were in the wrong, regardless of why you did it, now you somewhere. Now the next thing you're going to have to do is you got to start all over. Y'all could have been together for months, for years, for decades. You got to go all the way back to the beginning to where you are trying to win her love. You start all the way over like you're trying to get her to fall in love with you all over again. So if you used to lay out 3x5 cards with a note on each one that lead her to some roses, do that again. You used to have chocolate and flowers, do that again. You used to write poems, do that again. Make her fall in love with you all over again. And when you're doing this, don't expect anything in return. So in the past, before you cheated, before you lied, you do a little bit of this. You write a poem. You get you a little singing on the microphone, getting a little sloppy toppy, like y'all like to call it. And I'm just being very real here. But now you go to do that, and she's like, "Thank you." And now you in your feelings because you push this button. But where she used to be Jacqueline in the box. Now you push that button and she, thank you. Guess what? You broke the trust. So you got to be willing to keep pushing the right buttons until eventually that frown turn upside down and now her countenance changes. And the length of time that it's going to take depends on the severity of the offense that you committed. So this is what you got to understand. So now you got to start all the way over. Now the next thing you have to be okay with is you got to be okay with the community service. What I mean by that is when you do the crime, you get in trouble, you got community service hours. If it wasn't nothing to where you finna do hard time, you at least got community service hours. So what this means is every month or every week or every 3 months, she's gonna bring up, I just cannot believe that you did that. Why did you do that? It woke me up last night. And now once again, you have to listen. I did that because I was stupid. I was ignorant. I was broken. I was hurting. I was lost. Yeah, but you didn't have to do that. Why couldn't you just be a man? I couldn't be a man because I wasn't a man. I couldn't be a man because I never been taught how to be a man. I couldn't be a man because I ain't know what love was. I didn't know how to love you. I hated myself. So see, now when you 8 Miler, when I say 8 Miler, you remember watch the movie 8 Mile when they got Eminem was in the freestyle battle, and everything that man was gonna say about Eminem, he said it by himself. That man ain't had nothing to say. When you let your woman know that you understand and you're not making excuses, you're not blaming her, you're not using ifs, ands, and buts, and it hurts to do because it feel like you beating yourself up. And it's frustrating because you're like, when are you gonna get over this? But when we do something wrong, we don't get to choose when somebody heals. It's little stuff I done said in my marriage, just being blunt. I'm very real and raw. You watch my videos, you'll know that. I step on a lot of toes. My wife still just brings stuff up that I said a long time ago. I ain't say that. I said that. Listen, baby, you know what? I'm sorry about that. Now, she's not actually mad about it. She's not giving me a silent treatment. But it just shows me how the mind, it don't forget stuff that offended us. And she'll bring it up. Now, if it was something that was a serious offense, then that would be getting brought up too. But I would actually have to be on the witness stand expressing why I did and said what I did and said. And so you have to understand that. So you got to be okay with the community service. Now, the next thing you're going to have to do is you have to be transparent. A lady, somebody asked something, what does it mean if my husband won't let me see his phone? And I said, he cheating. That don't necessarily mean that, but that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go that hard on it because there is no privacy in marriage. Now, there is privacy if you're not married, but there's no privacy if you done cheated. So even though my wife didn't come and catch me cheating, and you was cheating with this person, you having this affair and that affair, even though that hasn't happened, I still give her my passwords to my social media. She has the password to my phone because I have nothing to hide. And so what it does is it holds me accountable. So when in the beginning of our relationship, I used to talk bad about her. I want to talk bad about her to my sister, talk bad about her to my mama, to my daddy, to my homeboy. Now she got all my passwords, that keep me in check. If I'm feeling a certain kind of way, I can't go bad mouthing. You see what I mean? If a woman texts me, I know it got to be completely cordial and strictly business. So I can't even get tempted to where if this woman flirting or if this woman do this, that, I can't even get tempted with that. If a woman DM me, I can't even get tempted to let it go down in the DM because my wife could be in there at the same time I'm in there reading it with me. Now, she's actually not like that. Like, she don't read messages. She don't do that type of stuff. She did it when she was 19, 20 years old when we first met because her ex-boyfriend that she had just broke up with had cheated on her. So she hadn't healed yet. But once I healed her heart by being trustworthy and honest and real and raw with her, transparent with her, then she got to the place to where I ain't hear nothing. I ain't hear nothing. And it was one time in our marriage years ago that I had a client that was kind of seen as one of the top, looking models in the country. Like all of the athletes wanted this particular young lady. And it was then that that client reaching out to me and would be messaging me, asking questions and things like that. It was then that I remember my wife looked at my phone and she mentioned something about it. And I knew that because I say, this is the biggest test that I've ever had. So if I'm going to cheat, this will be the test that a person will fail. And I know my wife just being human, every other pretty or beautiful or whatever you would call these women that I had coached, it had never been on that level. And so as far as from the men's perspective. And so she checked in, but I wasn't mad at her because it's my wife. So there is no transparency because guess what? If something was to happen to either one of you, the other person need to have a code to the phone so they could call your closest of kin, call your best friend, if this person want to surprise you with a birthday party, they need to have the code to your phone to get all your people together, to get them numbers out your phone. You see what I mean? So when we have these kind of barriers, it ain't even safe. It ain't even healthy. Like, they need to have location services, because if something happen, you get kidnapped, you get snatched up, your phone, if they could find your phone, they know exactly where you at. You see what I mean? So it's even beyond just building trust. It's just being on one accord, being on the same page. So you gotta be transparent. If you're not with that because of the man podcast that you listening to, or the YouTube channel that you watching, and they don't put this stuff in your head by, oh, you gotta have privacy, and if she can't forgive you, and if she can't just get over it and never mention it again, then you with the wrong woman because she weak mentally. If that's what you want to believe, then it's not the relationship for you. You don't want this woman. You don't want this woman. Go on about your business. Because if you did the crime and you don't want to do the time, then this relationship ain't for you. If you want to come back and you want to force her to forgive you on your timeline, and you want her to stop asking you questions about the offense on your timeline, and you want her to not have access to your social media and your phone, and to just immediately trust you, then you don't want her. You don't want her. You think you want her, you don't want her. So let her go. Let her go on about her business. Let her go on about her business, and you go on about your business. There's somebody a better fit out there for you, and there's somebody that's a better fit out there for her, and you can't be selfish about it. And so understand, with these things that I'm saying in this video, this stuff is non-negotiable. This stuff non-negotiable. And now I'm doing it off the top of my head, so I'm probably omitting a couple of things on accident, but I don't like to have notes, and I don't like to have note cards because it'll throw me off. And so if you sit and you think back through them 4 things I think I said, then let's add a number 5. Number 5, what you want to do is suggest professional help. This lets you know if your woman really wants you back. This lets you know if she's healthy. If she say, no, we don't need a life coach, no, we don't need a counselor, then she toxic. She toxic. Because anybody who in a fragmented or broken relationship and don't want help, then that person wants control. So if she don't want to get help, because see, this thing is, this what I'm telling you as a man, because I'm talking to you as a man. But when I'm talking to her as a woman, I'm also going to tell her, you got to choose to forgive and forget. And what that means is to forgive him and not remind him of the offense. So you see how this is what people don't understand, is a lot of times coaching is for the individual. So if the man says, listen, I'm okay with being asked these questions, but if the woman is told, you got to forgive and forget, like, yes, you could talk through it, you could talk about it, but actually think about this. Do you want him to really play out what happened so that you got to be thinking about this the rest of your life? Now you thinking about this the rest of your life, and you got a vivid picture of exactly what happened for the rest of your life. Is that truly what you want? Don't ask for something you don't want. Don't create a nightmare in your head. Oh, so what? So what did she do? And then what did she do next? Did you do this to her? Did you do that to her? Stop asking all them questions now. Stop asking all of them questions. Do you want to be in a relationship, and do you want to move on and get over it of what y'all went through, or do you want to create this horror story in your head that's going to play out in your dreams for the rest of your life? Because if you don't want to heal from it, then let the relationship go. But if you want to heal from it, then you got to move strategically. So the woman also has to be coached in her healing, because a person who is hurt can become toxic. A person who is hurt can become abusive, controlling. A person who is hurt people. So if she is hurt, if she's not going about her healing in a healthy way, see, remember, healthy, what's the root word of healthy? Heal. Healthy, heal. So if she's not going about her healing in a healthy way, then she will turn out to be a controlling, toxic, domineering, selfish, scorned, abused, hurt person that will make your life absolutely miserable. So, and you will be held in a prison of your past. And to some people, that sounds great. Oh, that's what they deserve. That's what they deserve. Listen, if that's how you feel about forgiveness, then you with the wrong person. You don't need to be with them. And so at the same time, while I'm saying this to you as a man, you still have to have, be aware. And you still got to be paying attention to see if she wants to heal, if she wants to grow, or if she wants to use this to control you the rest of your relationship, to have a pity party for years to come, because when she has pity parties, you buy bags, you buy clothes. And so there are some women who will do that. They want to have something to hang over the man's head. And then there are other women like my wife who she wants to forgive and forget. She wants to move on. She wants to get over the little hiccups. And she don't want pity. She don't want to be felt sorry for. And so if I say something, anytime I've ever said something that was too blunt or could come off rude or came out, I said it the wrong way, my wife, she will forgive me. And it sometimes take about 24 hours. But she'll forgive me, and then she'll treat me like it never happened before. And then when she bring it up, even if it might be a year later, it's in a joking manner. It's not like we reliving it all over again and she holding me to the fire. And so she's very forgiving. She's very forgiving as long as it's not a deal breaker. Now, if it's a deal breaker, she through with you. She through with you. And so I say that to say, as a man, you still got to pay attention. And see, this is the thing. You also, as a man, have to decide, are you coming back out of ego because you don't want to lose, because you hate to lose? You coming back out of fear because you're scared to see her with another man? Or are you coming back out of heart because this is the woman you love and you made a stupid choice and you want to make it right because you know this is your wife, but you try her like a baser, and now you need to come and show her that you do appreciate, love, cherish, and value her. You got to be honest with yourself as a man, because see, sometimes when you cheat, when you do something stupid, sometimes that is a sign that you're not with the woman you're supposed to be with. Sometimes that's a sign that you don't respect and love this woman and that you really want to be somewhere else. And that's why you had the courage to go do what you did. So sometimes as a man, you got to be real with yourself. And I've heard women get mad with me when I say that. Well, how can you say if you dog your wife out, you're gonna leave? That's not right. How can you do her wrong and then you get to choose to leave? That should be her choice if she wants you to leave or stay. And like, no, because if I do something on this here level, that means that I don't want to be in this relationship. If I do something on such a bad level, and that I know the human heart not going to be able to forgive that, I'm not finna be in a prison of my past choices in this relationship, because that's a sign that I want to be somewhere else. And so sometimes you have to realize that when men cheat, when women cheat, all the time, that means the relationship is broken. It don't mean that it can't be fixed, but in that moment when you did that, that means your heart was not in it. Because when your heart is in the relationship, you're incapable of cheating. My heart in my relationship, I'm incapable of cheating with anybody. I can't cheat with anybody. For me to cheat, I would have to consciously think about it, consciously put myself in that position to do that. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to go through a whole lot of decisions. I'm going to have to make a lot of bad choices, bad choice after bad choice after bad choice after bad choice to come to the place of cheating. But because my heart is in my relationship, on one of them choices, I'm going to choose to do the right thing because my heart is in my relationship. If I go all the way to the point of cheating at this stage in my relationship, that means my heart ain't in it. So you also have to evaluate that and say, okay, is this a telltale sign? Is this telling me that this relationship has run its course and I need to release her and not play mind games with her like I want to be with her, and let her go so she can start her healing process and so she can attract real love? And although I'm selfish and although I'm egotistical and although it's going to hurt me to see her with another man, I need to be man enough to realize I'm not the man for her. And instead of putting her life on pause, dragging her through some more dirt, getting her back for my ego, knowing that I'm going to hurt her again in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, let me just let her live her life so she can ride off into the sunset, and let me man up and move on with my life and just continue to let my life suck until I decide to become a better man and make better choices. That's another thing that you got to be real with yourself about as a man. Now see, here's the thing now, this the irony. If you make that choice, sometimes when you choose that you want to leave, even after you cheated, there is a strand of women, there's a strand of women, and I done seen it countless times, that the woman will start boohoo, screaming and crying, begging you to stay, telling you that she loves you, she want to be with you, even though you just cheated and dogged her out. Now listen, this is one of the greatest tests as a man, because in that moment, she wants you out of codependency. She wants you out of self-hate. She wants you out of a lack of love for herself. So this is your opportunity as a man to show yourself, do you really love you, and do you really love her? Do you really respect her? Or do you take her back because you see how weak and broken she is and she willing to be okay with you cheating? And you know you're not ready to change, so you know you're going to cheat more. So do you go ahead and do what she asking you to do if she begging you to stay even though you cheated? Or do you go ahead and you do what's best for her even though she don't realize what's best for her? And you say, no, I'm not going to stay because I cheated for a reason. I don't want to be here. My heart is not in this relationship. It's going to happen again if I get back with you, and I don't want to keep doing that to you. Now, there are some women who will say, I don't care. You can have other women as long as you open with me, as long as you tell me the truth. We could even have women together. There are women who have told that to me in coaching, that's what they told a man, and there's women who have done that. So listen to me and understand, this is where your test is as a man. Y'all forgive my song. My doorbell go off, but I don't see nobody out there. That's where your test is as a man. And that's where you got to decide. That's where you got to look at that thing and you got to say, okay, listen, I'm not finna allow you to dog yourself out like that, to degrade yourself like that. Don't ever in your life say that again. Don't ever in your life do that again. You got to love yourself more. And that's another reason why I just know I'm broken, you broken, we not a good fit. So sometimes when you've cheated, when you've done something crazy, made a stupid decision, sometimes that is a sign that the relationship has ran its course and it's over, and you got to be man enough, as bad as your ego want to get her back just so you can win, you got to be man enough to move on with your life. And she'll look up one day and she'll appreciate you and she'll thank you for not further dogging her out or taking further advantage of her lack of self-love and her presence of self-hate. And so this is where you really become a man at, to where you either heal, grow, and change and be the man that she deserves, or you realize y'all are not a fit, and instead of putting her life on pause and having her standing still only for you to hurt her again later, you pack up and you go on about your business. And you pray for her health, her well-being, her wholeness. You can even spend the money and sponsor her for 4, 5, 12 sessions of counseling or coaching as a parting gift. And a lot of women don't like to hear that. Some women say, yeah, I'd rather the truth. I'd rather you be honest with me. I'd rather you tell me if you're going to be a dog, just let me know. If you want to sleep around, you want to cheat, just let me know. Don't lie to me. Don't play me. Don't drag me on. But I literally have had women say to me, how can you say that if a man cheat, or that if you cheat on your woman, you just gonna go ahead and leave? that shouldn't be your choice. She should get to choose if she want to keep you or not. I was like, what? So if she is a glutton for pain, if she want to keep getting cheated on, that okay, I'm supposed to stay. If obviously that's a sign that I don't want to be there, it's like, come on now. But that's where some people's self-esteem is at. They like, no, stay here. I don't care if you hurt me again. Just try your best. And if you slip and fall again, I'll forgive you again. But I just want you in my life because I need you in my life. It's codependency. It's self-hate. It's a lack of self-love. And so as a man, you got to sit and look and evaluate what's really going on here. Do you really love this woman? And you were stupid. Made a bad choice. It's a choice. And also a mistake is a choice. A lot of times people try to get into semantics. A mistake is a bad choice. That's what a mistake is. That's what it means. People talking about, oh, it's not a mistake. That's a choice. A mistake is a choice. It's a bad choice. And so listen to me. Really get down to the nitty gritty here. And then you make a decision as a man. And this ain't something I'm arguing about. And this is to the men. And so, ladies, if you watch this, you really was a fly on the wall in a man-to-man conversation. And this how it goes sometimes. It go both ways. You got to share both sides of it. Y'all not in the room. You okay to listen, but don't be commenting and trying to understand and make sense of man-to-man conversation because you don't have a dang-a-lang. You're not a man. So, therefore, everything that I say to a man is not going to make sense to a woman. And everything that I say to a woman is not going to make sense to a man. Everything that a woman say to a woman is not going to make sense to a man. So you got to understand when the arena is not for you and it's not addressing you and it's not speaking to how you are wired as a woman. It's not speaking to how your brain works as a woman. I'm speaking from a man to a man, and a man going to get and understand exactly what I'm saying, even though it might not make any sense at all to some women. So understand that. Hey, this is Tony Gasson. God bless you. We'll talk soon.